Welcome to Nice and Blunt. Time for another podcast episode with Angus, and I owe I owe Angus an apology. I've deleted two
Yeah.
episodes in the last 3 weeks by accident. Last week it was my foot hitting the power strip, pulling the cable with 5 minutes left, and
Mhm.
lost it. And then 3 weeks ago for Halloween, we were in costume, and
Mhm.
I ran out of space on my computer editing something, and to clear space, I accidentally deleted the podcast. So we had content, it hasn't
Yeah.
been posted, and we're back.
We've been trying for sure. Here's hoping it happens this time, or all of this will get lost to the
I'm I'm
ether.
I'm keeping my feet on the left side of the bottom of my desk. I'm keeping it away from any flip flops that can hit the power
Mhm.
strip as I tap the other side. So I think we're good in that regard. But yeah, knocking on wood. Hopefully this works out.
Yeah.
But good to be back. How are you doing,
Good
Angus?
back. I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, we're getting down to it. Like almost like in that final playoff push for fantasy. It's crazy, like with all the hype there was in the preseason, just to think we're almost at the fantasy playoffs now. Everyone's getting kind of a good idea of what you need to have happen, moves to make. Yeah, it's just crazy that we're getting down to the very end of the season.
It's crunch time, so time to be sharp, and
Mhm.
accuracy is more paramount at this stage of the game.
For sure. And it's definitely kind of understanding like where you are in the league. Are you probably making the playoffs? Are you and act accordingly? Do you need upside at this point? You know, there's a lot of like you need to have some honest conversations with your team of like, all right, what could I do right now?
Trade deadline approaching as well. Oh, as we're recording, we're also watching the Cowboys game, and Joe Mixon just pops off
I have a couple.
from about 40 yards out, something like that. Yeah, this game will be a blowout. We 45-yard rushing touchdown. So the 77 yarder from Nico that was negated turns
I
into
needed that so badly, but whatever.
I
Yeah.
we'll get to it. I would have liked it to happen as someone with Nico who's been waiting for him to get back.
Mhm.
Finally, at least he stayed healthy running the length of the field. We got some bookkeeping to tend to in the subscriber league, so that's probably the main focus of today's episode. But we'll be talking about every team just by correlation. But for timestamps, they will be matchup driven in the subscriber league. Just a heads up for anyone watching. Where you want to start?
I guess let's go ahead and start with yours. I think that's a pretty good place to start. You're looking really good this week.
Let's do it. Yeah, I was on a 3 game losing streak. I had a rough time there with my RB2 position. A lot of buys, injuries, and even a suspension at my receiver spots. The last 3 weeks have been fucking rough, man. But
Mhm.
I get back on track here with a win. And I do have Nico Collins, as mentioned. Would have loved the 15 points on the first play.
Oh,
Uh,
for real. No, that would have been so nice, especially I don't know if you ever show like the standings and all of that fun stuff. It's coming down to a game of points.
oh, yeah. Here, I'll pivot to the standings on the screen. The viewers
Like
at home can
points
see
have
it.
never mattered more. Like obviously you want to get wins because that's going to do it, but it's not a guarantee anymore. Like you really need to separate yourself with the points.
Here are the division standings in the hot box, the 12 team single division league, where the one seed is 7-3, but shockingly, the one seed is actually um eighth. No, they're ninth in points. The one seed has gotten kind of lucky with the schedule, the
Mhm.
fewest points against, and they are 7-3. Then we have a bottleneck at the top. We've got the
Mhm.
2 seed through the 5 seed, four teams tied at 6-4, a couple teams tied at 5-5. I'm one of them, just outside the playoffs at the 7 spot because of my points scored. I am 10th in points. Over the last 3 weeks, I've been just depleted in points. I got a bagel from Nico last week, but I'm at 5-5, and then we have four more teams at 4-4, and then 12. The last team in the standings is 3-7. So nobody's out of it, but obviously you'd like to be above 500 as it stands with only 3 weeks left.
Mhm. Oh yeah, especially with like four game or yeah, oh my God, only three games left to play in the regular season.
Not
If you go on
counting
a three
tonight. Yeah.
a 3 game losing streak here and you could just be absolutely out of it. Like even if you're in second, it's just it could be taken away from you so quickly. Like I look over and you see like that ESPN playoff percent prediction or whatever. That's a
Right.
bunch of bullshit. That
Yeah.
means nothing.
That's unless it's zero, anyone has a chance. But obviously, if you have more than 7 losses, you're probably eliminated. I think you have to be at least 500 and have all the tiebreakers to squeak in. That's what happened to you, Angus, last year. You were the 6th seed and you had all the tiebreakers.
Yeah.
I was also 7-7, and you kept me out. So, point scored is where it's at, and I really need some points in my favor. So I was fucking mad that Nico was negated for that house call, but as we mentioned, I'll pull up the matchup just to review what's going on. And this was a very important matchup for me against Hawk to a Moon because they have some tiebreakers in points. They were a game behind me, and they could still make it, but obviously I'd be in terrible spot if I was 5-6. So 6-5 is
While
huge.
while picking Herbert and getting 26 points out of him would feel disappointing. Like that's a crazy thought for sure.
Yep, here's my roster, and I did make a mistake. I
But I
left
don't think it was. Like it made all the sense in the world. I was guessing Herbert,
I
but
thought from a floor standpoint against the Bengals, Herbert would have 20 points a lot more likely than Goff, who I was right. Herbert put up 26 and a lot of rushing yards, just under the 300-yard bonus. But Goff was insane. Goff had 400 yards and 4 touchdowns.
yeah.
Goff was like the MVP of the week. And I benched him along with Jamison Williams for Herbert and Cedric Tillman. And it cost me about 32 points. So, like, bringing up those tiebreakers in the points, like this could keep me out of the playoffs. This decision to bench Goff and JMO
It is that tight, and
could
that is
haunt
kind of
me.
a testament to this specific league where like it's so competitive.
Yeah,
Everyone's on top of it. Everyone knows what they're doing. Whenever I get an idea of like, oh, maybe I'll pick up so and so, they got picked up weeks ago. So that's a recurring issue for sure.
that being said, I think I am projected to be the highest score on the week, or at least like in the top three, with 121 and Nico still left to play. I could still put up like 140. I almost already got there on one touch, but um, anyways, yeah, I started Cedric Tillman. That was wrong over Jamison Williams, but I kind of feel like the process is really good for all of the Browns receivers. Like their target share was kind of similar before the bye week, and Judy has the 89-yard touchdown. Like that could go to any of them.
Yeah.
Elijah Moore also scores a touchdown, and Tillman kind of gets locked up for the first half, but does wake up a little bit. Still has 47 yards. Like 6 points isn't like terrible, but obviously disappointing compared to JMO.
Oh, for sure. And definitely a little disappointing when you see like the box score and you're like, oh shit, if the Browns are going off for that much, that must mean Tillman's gonna be going off. And I do still think you'd rather have Tillman than Judy.
The reason I'm not going to panic is because Nick Chubb is not the same player. Like I thought Nick Chubb would really capitalize on the Saints matchup, and he didn't. And like
Yeah,
that just means they have to rely on Jameis so much more. And I still think Tillman is at worst like on the same level as Judy, if not still the number one.
yeah, for sure.
So I'm not going to panic there. I was right not to panic on Hunter Henry. I stuck with him after a tough game last week.
Yeah, that's
Um, that was nice. If I get this type of floor from him, I'm gonna be so happy. But
as long as T. Higgins stays healthy for you, man.
oh my god, that's a big if, bro.
Like if he somehow finds a way to stay healthy for the rest of the season, then that's so dangerous.
Yeah, but huge game from him. Ecstatic about that. And then I also made a trade for Jalen Warren. I gave up Brian Thomas because like I just didn't see a game where I was like clearly gonna start him at
Hmm.
receiver. Like I need an RB2. If Pacheco gets hurt again, or just if he doesn't come back soon enough, like I'm so tired of rolling with Cam Akers, who was actually the better play this week.
Well, so that's the thing. Like he actually had a fair amount of usage. Like that's
Yeah,
the if you're Aaron Jones owner, I don't know. Maybe you're not concerned because like
I'd be
if
very
anything,
worried if I had Aaron Jones.
you might feel like you're kind of playing with house money, getting this much production out of him, but at the same time, yeah, seemingly for no reason. Cam Akers got all this extra work. So he might not be too bad, is my point.
Well, I think Kevin O'Connell really trusts him, and then I don't think Aaron Jones is fully healthy. Like he did exit last week with a chest injury, and then he was only limited in practice this week. I
Yeah.
really worry that he's one minor hamstring injury away from missing the rest of the season. He's missed more than a month in the past. Like last year, he was really off the field a lot. So I think Akers is a really good stash, but you can't feel like super confident starting him. But he had the same amount of touches, I believe, as Warren. So that's
Yeah.
nice. I don't trust him to score a touchdown every week, but that was nice.
Yeah, for sure.
I also picked up Estime. I don't really give a shit about that. It's just a trade off for Jonathan Brooks. Like I need some running back depth.
Were you nervous playing the Steelers at all? Like I understand you just didn't want to drop them, but was that kind of nerve-wracking at all?
I picked him to win, and I was doing a lot of research on it. I considered adding somebody else, but the last like 4 years between the Steelers and Ravens, neither team scored more than 20 points, and it happens again. So I was like, I trust him. I didn't think I ranked
Yeah.
him like 12. I didn't think they were going to be this good. I thought I would get like 7 or 8. Um,
So, real quick, not to distract, but so what just happened in the Cowboys game, they went forward on fourth down and they did not get it. So the ball turned over to Houston. My
okay.
petition for next year is a turnover on downs should also count for the defense as like like the same as an interception or a fumble.
I would
It is a
agree.
turnover. The result is the same.
Yeah.
They did it, like they stopped them. So that should count. Get him to
Yeah.
comment.
I,
That's
I, I would agree. I think maybe it's not worth like 2 points. Like it's not the same as like catching an
no,
interception, but
no.
no,
It's worth
I'd say it's worth a sack. I think it's
yeah,
worth like a sack.
gotta be worth
Um,
something. It's a big stop by the defense. Anyway,
I would agree. Fake punt didn't work, but back to the matchup. Yeah, I like Jalen Warren. It was a tough matchup for him, and he gets 4 catches, and I
pretty good.
like his explosiveness. I trust his floor because like the reason I traded for him because the week before he had 16 touches, 8.5 points, and he also fumbled on the goal line. And if that didn't happen, that 8 point swing would have made his trade value way higher than where it was when I got him. So even though like yeah, I probably lost the trade straight up with Brian Thomas versus Jalen Warren, back at the draft, they were only like 20 picks apart. Like they were less than 2 rounds difference in terms of ADP. And not only does Brian Thomas have Mac Jones as a quarterback right now, we don't know when Lawrence is going to come back. He also has a bye in week 12. And I'm not fucking starting him over Nico Collins, T. Higgins, Cedric Tillman, or even Jamison Williams if Mac Jones is the quarterback. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I took the shot.
I say this as a CeeDee Lamb owner in a lot of leagues. Like when something like this happens, you 100% need to kind of recontextualize what this player is. And
Mm-hmm.
like Ryan Thomas, when Trevor Lawrence was out there, was great. Maybe even like a wide receiver one. Like he was doing really, really great. That's not the situation anymore. The Jags have nothing to play for. Mac Jones is one of the like maybe not even a starting caliber NFL quarterback.
No.
Like they're not like he's just different. He's not the same guy. So you're never going to feel comfortable starting him.
Well,
You got to just
one thing that was interesting about Brian Thomas is this week he actually got like a lot of volume, and the thing that he was offering before was not a ton of volume. He would get like 4 catches a game, but from Lawrence they were deep down the field, and then he'd also get like a lot of yak. So it was like you'd pick up 60 yards on one play, and that's what made Brian Thomas so valuable. Not this like volume uh hog. Oh wow, CJ Stroud just threw a nasty interception here.
oh,
Overthrew
they
Nico.
on four.
Stroud is trying to trying to cough up the game, but um, yeah. Back to the point I was making. Already forgot. um,
I
yeah,
either way, Brian Thomas, not who you thought he was. I
right.
like the Warren trade. Like you're hoping, like because he's one Najee injury away from getting like an elite level workload. Like that's at least in the cards. I don't think Brian Thomas has a scenario in which he could become elite for you. Like you're just kind of like he could do it, but Lord knows you're never going to know when it's going to happen.
Yeah. The day after I made this trade, Jalen Ward did miss practice and I was livid and I was
Mhm.
like, are you serious? But I do think like on its face when you see the offer of Brian Thomas for Jalen Warren, if he's on your bench and like you don't really need him, then
Mhm.
it feels like a good pivot to make. But as someone who really needs running back, I felt like it was a more valuable piece to have. So I'm happy about it. We'll see what happens. But Gibbs has a decent game. Uh, Herbert plays really well.
Jonathan Brooks, your team mascot, still holding strong.
I have him on IR because I think if Pacheco comes back, I'd much rather
Oh yeah, for
just
sure.
leave Brooks on IR and not drop anyone.
For sure. I totally get that.
But tonight's a audition for Jake Ferguson. Will he be dropped or not? I'm not quite sure. Probably. Um,
He's leaning that way for sure. He's one of the more impacted players from the Dak injury. Like Lamb for
yeah.
sure is downgraded, but like he's probably still going to be decent. Like he'll be probably like a top 20 wide receiver each and every week where you're like, yeah, I probably don't have too many people I'm going to start ahead of him.
Yeah, doubt it. I'll probably end up dropping him. But I noticed my opponent has Dalton Schultz, and I didn't really want to give him a
Uh,
an opportunity to pivot. But anyways, my opponent. Let's talk about my opponent. Unfortunate loss, kind of a must win, but not completely out of it. He needs to win the last three. He needs to finish 7-7. But
this is the problem he's going to have though with Lamar and Josh Allen. Good luck. Like you're just kind of picking one of the two.
if he
I
had
don't know.
stuck with my rankings, he would have gone Josh Allen over Lamar. I was kind of swiping away some sweat when I saw Lamar actually was the starter. I thought this was the tougher matchup for sure. Lamar against the Steelers than Allen against the Chiefs.
For sure. I'm definitely with you there, but yeah, definitely a rough loss. God, as a Chargers fan, I love to see the Lad McConkey, Justin Herbert points being put up. Like that's just so cool.
I was a bit worried when the game started. I was like, there's a chance that McConkey completely cancels out anything I get from Herbert. But by the time that game kicked off, I was
Yeah.
kind of T. Higgins decided it comfortably. So that was nice. But Darnell Mooney going down, I think, is what like really kind of made me comfortable. Like him off the
Yeah.
field sort of sealed it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Hopefully it's not a long-term thing, I don't think. But yeah, you definitely don't love to see that. He's been great this year.
They have a
Uh,
bye, so I think he'll be a back and fine after
Yeah, Kamara, like God, Taysom Hill just stole everything from Kamara. Like, we'll get to that, I'm sure later. But yikes, like that's the Taysom Hill pro. Taysom Hill's just a good football player. Like I
it.
think maybe that's the lesson here is the dude's just good at ball.
Does he have like
That
the most unique career that you can think
well, I think
of?
this is two coaching staffs now that see him and are like, yeah, we need to get him the ball. He's just good. Like we need
He is
like
good.
it's not like, oh, there's one coaching staff that's just in love with him. Like it's frustrating because he's like keeps taking this work from like Kamara and every other running back there. It's like he's doing it though, so whatever.
He
Yeah,
should be a
wow,
running back in fantasy though. You know what I mean? Like he shouldn't be a tight end. He should be a running back.
such a wild career. Like such a crazy like that he's a quarterback sometimes. He's a running back. Like just the wildest person in fantasy for
Yeah, but if you
sure.
have Kamara, you're fucking pissed about it. So
He is the ultimate super flex. He's a real life super flex.
dude, I was looking at Underdog and my teams in the Superflex format, and only in that setting, when like you need multiple quarterbacks, and you're drafting four, would I ever take Taysom Hill? And I was looking, and I was like, oh yeah, all those teams with Taysom are fucking like dominating right now. He's only like contributed like 2 weeks, but both times it's like massive. So he was insane. Yeah, we'll get to him in a sec, but Mooney's a letdown. A Chain was fine, kind of canceled out Gibbs, but Kamara, nothing special, no touchdowns. Lamar letdown. Ramondre, decent floor play, but yeah, it all hinges on T Higgins basically and Herbert for me.
I think, like, I don't know. I'm not the biggest Deontay Johnson believer, especially now that he's in. Oh, an
No.
interception for Houston. Let's go, Houston D.
Oh, I'm watching on I'm I'm streaming it, properly.
Yeah.
But here comes Cooper Rush. Oh wow, terrible interception, right to the.
Uh,
That was egregious. I really think we're
uh,
going to see Trey Lance at halftime,
yes,
but
I agree.
yeah,
Yeah, like God, I would have done Goddard over Schultz, I think too. I liked Goddard this week. I mean, I
same.
played with him.
I think he just maybe didn't get to it on Thursday and it got locked.
Yeah, for
That'd be
sure.
my guess. But
Yeah, I think Deontay's droppable. That's just my take. Like
oh,
you
for
could
sure,
do
yeah.
so much more
With
with that spot.
with the Ravens, he's not doing anything. Maybe
Yeah.
he's hurt, but still, yeah, he's not doing jack shit.
No.
You'd rather have Bateman, I think.
I'd rather have just like kind of anybody, like just any, just take even like a second defense. Right, he already has that, but you know what I mean. Like I'd rather use the spot for something like that.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I'm just saying like on the Ravens specifically.
Oh,
But yeah, I agree. There're probably better options than Bateman. So good luck to Hawk Tuah. Hopefully you pull off a win streak, but do or die mode these last three games can't
yeah.
have. There's no room for error rest of way. Now we can pivot on to next matchup: Johnny Football versus Sun God Squad, and huge win for Sun God Squad.
For
Very
real. Yeah, needed it for sure.
would have been in a rough spot without it. And Johnny Football has all the tiebreakers for points, but obviously not a good loss. Like 114 is beatable. To lose at 109, that's rough.
That's rough. God, Chris Boswell is basically like a flex player. Jesus, he's so
Pretty
good.
much. I mean, him and Derrick Henry basically swapped this week.
Yeah, for real. God, crazy to have Chris Boswell and still lose. That's rough.
Yeah. Debo really let him down. I was so wrong about Debo this week. The entire Niners let everyone down.
I was doing so in my, we'll get to mine eventually. I'm going against Purdy and Jawan Jennings, and literally the entire game, I'm like, I've got this in the bag. And then that Jawan Jennings touchdown was like an 11-point swing in their favor. Like it was so brutal. Well, that
J-
should, I was hoping it was Debo, but yeah.
Would you consider Jennings the new number one receiver in San Fran? I think so.
He's certainly really good. Like I think
Yeah.
he one you could like buy high on and just like he could just be great the rest of the year. Like with him, there's an element of like you need to disregard all the previous years he just hasn't done well
He's
and be like, well, what are we doing today?
he's basically what I thought Ayuk would become.
Yeah.
And that's really disappointing for Debo because with
I,
Kittle
I
off the
wonder
field, with
Yeah, well, I wonder how much of Kittle not being there, like the defenses were like, cool, we're gonna hone in on Debo and CMC. Maybe that freed up Jawan Jennings. I have no idea, but it's so disappointing. I assume Debo would be because all the previous Debo without Ayuk stats are insane. Like he's
yeah,
a wide one, and that
yeah,
just hasn't happened yet.
yeah, Debo's a huge disappointment right now, and maybe the pneumonia's like still a factor. I kind of doubt it off the bye, but like he's been banged up all season, and that was my concern for him entering there. That's like kind of why I was so high on Ayuk. I was like, I feel like Debo's near the cliff, and with Kittle getting older, McCaffrey off so many touches, like I think that's why they refused to actually trade Ayuk and actually pay him because they knew they were on the cusp. But given his season,
Yeah,
it looks like the wrong call. Maybe a year from now, they'll be happy
yeah.
they did it. But right now, it's just a season from hell.
Here's a question for you as a Chargers fan. Should the Chargers sign Debo in the offseason? They will
No.
have like No, they're gonna. I didn't realize the Chargers are gonna be fifth in cap space available for next year. So like,
Yeah, I mean
how we want to spend it?
that I wouldn't hate it. But I feel like they're just gonna keep doing what they normally do, and I think they're just gonna keep investing in defense. Like I think they need to replace Joey Bosa before
Yeah,
they worry about receiver because you can always get receivers in the draft. Like
that's true.
Khalil Mack didn't play and Joey Bosa was healthy last night, but if we don't have Tui, like that's
Yeah,
probably a loss last night against the
yeah,
Bengals.
that's fair.
So I think based on their identity and track record, I doubt it. Like I would expect them to maybe go like the Chiefs route. They've kind of mimicked the Chiefs, and if they were gonna trade for
Yeah,
like a a veteran, maybe I don't know. Let's say Debo's retained and they can trade for him midseason. That I'd like a lot more than
Yeah.
mid-season when you're trading away draft
Um,
picks like next year. Um, so
yeah.
I doubt it, but I wouldn't hate it.
Sure.
Um, let's see. What else about this matchup? Cole Kmet is decent. James,
Jalen Waddle is so
oh
frustrating.
God, he's a huge. Almost every Dolphin other than Waddle is a massive bust.
I was so high on Waddle though in the beginning of the year. Like I thought in underdog, him in the fourth was I like I was convinced that was the mistake of the year. Is that if you could get Waddle in the fourth, you were just printing money, and that's just not true at all.
Did he go in the fourth this year? I feel like it went in like the third and he creeped up into the
He
second, right?
preseason,
Uh,
preseason he was going in the fourth,
oh
and then he
yeah,
the second because everyone was like, wait a second, what's going on here?
yeah.
But preseason, where I took him everywhere, he was in like the fourth, and then he moved up. So
The
yeah,
I would kind of avoid him, and then sometimes I'd talk myself into like, okay, well, what if Tyreek gets injured
yeah,
and now he's like a top 10 receiver? But for the most part, I didn't take him. But sometimes I would reach on him just for like that contingency.
100%.
But no, he's so bad. Jonnu Smith had an insane game,
Yeah,
massive game from
I picked
Jonnu.
him up as just like a tight end fill-in for Trey McBride in one game. That was awesome to see. Just like the notification, like 57-yard touchdown from Johnny's. Like, fuck, all right.
Yeah,
Let's go.
huge game from Jonnu. That's massive. Kenneth Walker has a decent game. Like considering
The
it was
touchdown.
against the Niners, I thought it was good, decent game.
Great win for Seattle. Like massive win for
Oh
Seattle.
yeah,
Holy
huge.
shit.
Derrick Henry fumbled on the it was like first touch of the game,
Yeah, not ideal.
but does score a touchdown. Just okay at 10.5. But just like Kamara, disappointing.
Yeah.
Tua played well, 3 touchdowns,
Mhm.
but that was against Las Vegas. Like, what does it really mean? Not too much.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Packers, this game was way closer than I thought.
God, they just can't. The Bears just can't beat the Packers. Like it's some
No,
insane stat that they haven't beaten them in like 2,000 days or something like that.
that
It's
sounds probably right. Yeah.
it's some wild statistic like that, and it's just like I like the Bears have like it's gonna be wild to see what the team's like next year because
Yeah.
they've had so many demoralizing things happen this year where you're just like fuck man I'm like I don't know what you do like you
Well,
gotta.
the Bears have like a long track record of like bad luck, like the double doink in the playoffs. Like, they've been bad for a long time. And I think by trading for Keenan Allen and Gerald Everett, they absorbed all of the charging that like Jim Harbaugh rid it out of the building
Mhm.
by
Oh
cutting
yeah.
Mike Williams and trading Keenan Allen. And it de facto went to the Jets and Bears, just made them that much worse.
Seeing how the year has turned out so far, do you think that this is a Bryce Young, CJ Stroud situation in the NFL draft
I
where
wouldn't go
like
that far
they should have
because
taken Jaden?
I wouldn't go that far. Um,
I agree.
I because right now, like Bo Nix looks like the best rookie quarterback.
Yeah. And
Jaden has hit a ceiling, whether it's
yeah.
the rib injury or just Cliff Kingsbury notoriously falling apart in the second half of the year. The
Yeah.
Commanders are not the same team that we were, you know, hyping up a month ago.
Would it kill you to run a quarterback sneak? Sorry.
You have Stroud.
It was
First and
first
goal from the
and
one.
first and goal on the one. They give it to Joe Mixon and he gets stuffed. And I'm like, okay, clearly here comes the QB sneak. No.
No, you have to wait for like third down for that. Oh no, he got in. Mixon scored a touchdown.
That's what I no, but not on the first try.
No, it. Oh, are they
That
calling
was
it
second.
back? Yeah, they're calling it back.
Oh,
Remember, I'm on a delay. I'm on
oh, my bad.
because I'm such a model citizen.
Spoiler alert, he's going to get in now, and they're not going to give it to Stroud, is what's about to happen. Not to ruin it for you,
Yeah.
but
Okay. Well, good for Mixon. I expected him to score that touchdown, but because I'm such a model citizen, paying my cable bill on time every month,
of course.
I I haven't had cable in fucking like 8, 10 years. It feels like
I don't
I
know.
get by with my computer. Everything. The
I
only
don't know
reason to
what.
watch live TV is sports in the first place.
Yeah, for sure.
Who the fuck
Yeah,
watches
I
live TV at this point?
yeah. What's your take on Hopkins? Do you think he's worth
Well,
starting going
do you remember
forward?
before they got Hopkins, Juju had that like 130-yard game, and then he like
Yeah,
immediately
yeah,
got
yeah,
hurt. Like
yeah,
that's just the role that they have. Like it's I I know you really love Rishi Rice, but I've never been like a huge Rishi Rice believer. It's just the role that he needs to occupy is so
yeah.
valuable, and it just de facto goes to Hopkins now. And there's some weeks when he's gonna literally put up like 25 points. And you're not gonna be shocked at all, and then given his skill set, he's not Rishi Rice, so you
Yeah.
can also get like a 5 point, dud just because, that was a Xavier Worthy game. That one
Yeah.
went to Worthy. Even Kelsey was disappointing last week. Like Noah Gray scored 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. Oh,
Um, yeah, that's just kind of the downside of Kansas City, and with Pacheco coming back, that probably happens even more often. So there's risk, but there's also like huge upside, and inevitably it'll pivot back to Hopkins.
yeah. No, I'm with you there. You probably have to just keep starting him and take the bad games for sure.
Yeah,
God,
he's in the
God
flex
forbid,
conversation. Um,
Amon Ra scoring a touchdown seems like just the most like you're not like those aren't like convention says that stuff isn't predictive, and yet here we are
I
with
think
yet
when you
another.
consider the identity of the Detroit Lions, they're guaranteed to score because of their, mismatched roster compared to everyone else, and also like it's so narrow.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
With Laporta out, they have 4 players, and they still
Yeah,
drop 50.
yeah,
Like, it's either Gibbs, Montgomery, St. Brown, or Jameson.
yeah.
There was a
No,
touchdown for Brock Wright, but like, that would go to Laporta otherwise.
at the moment, I do think the NFC is going to probably come down to the Eagles and the Lions.
Yeah, it feels that way.
It seems like it's going to be one of those two.
Yeah,
Uh, and no idea how that's going to work out
that's
because the
gonna be
Eagles
fun.
defense is like picking up,
Oh my God,
and Hurts is playing
they're
better.
so good now. The Eagles defense is amazing.
Went from like the worst defense last year to a top five this year. That's so like I heard some people say this that like defense doesn't carry over year after year. So like drafting at a quote unquote elite defense early in a draft kind of doesn't make sense because like the Eagles could have the worst defense last year and now a top five this year. So you're just like, what is going on?
Well, they were pretty good when they went to the Super Bowl. They were great at stopping the run, and then their like secondary was just getting old. But it was like it was past their prime, but it used to be elite. Like if you got prime Darius Slay and James Bradbury, you were
Yeah.
like a great secondary. But that was like clearly the last year where they were both like kind of viable. Bradbury's dropped off so much, and Slay's not the
Mm.
same anymore. But
Yeah.
now they have Fangio. I remember we were talking about this. Like I believed in Fangio. You were like, I don't think so. Look what he did in Miami last year. And
I
I think it was just a culture fit
yeah, no, he's definitely working out here for sure. It's
because
it's
he's
great to
because he also has like almost all Georgia players on the fucking defense,
and
and
Cooper DeJean, man, like he's coming up big. Like that dude's
yeah,
good.
he's also really good. He's representing that white cornerback,
He finally
once
got
in a
one.
generation player.
The Jackie Robinson of white corner. He's our Jackie Robinson.
um, yeah, he's playing well. But really well coached, and like they don't even need to play well to win. Like Saquon and Jalen Hurts are just dominant.
For
Um,
sure. Rough to see Jonathan Taylor not doing too well.
well, Richardson just vultured him, I believe, twice, right?
But
So
that's kind of the problem.
yeah,
But it,
that's
like that was kind of the problem with
but it
Taylor
won't
at the
happen every week. It's kind of match like I was looking at his match.
yeah.
Like Richardson had a really good matchup on the ground for
Mhm.
quarterbacks against the Jets. So I don't think it'll happen next week. I think they get the Lions. It can happen, but
Um,
I think Taylor will be fine. Running back's
uh,
loaded, so he'll be
yeah.
fine, and he'll still be like RB 13 in the ranks.
ETN is someone that like yeah,
Yeah,
you can't be too excited about ETN.
let's
Like
get
even
back
with
to the
Bigsby,
matchup here. Sorry.
even with Bigsby hurt, it's like they're just not playing for much, and it's just not that good of a team with Mac Jones. I mean, I know they just got boat race, but still, like you can't be. I don't know. I don't think you can be too stoked.
No, the Jags suck. Yeah, I think the only reason to be encouraged is the fact that Bigsby's hurt, but they have a bye. Maybe he comes back, and Etienne is the
Hmm.
only pass catcher. Like they don't send any targets to Bigsby, so
For
maybe with Lawrence you're more encouraged, but they won't suck this bad. Detroit's really good at stopping the run. But yeah, Burrow goes off as always. Burrow's going to be fantastic. Like I think he's top 5 rest of season, right?
for me, yeah,
Especially
and
if
but
Higgins is
more
healthy.
like there's a clear top three, undeniable like top three in whatever order you want of Mahomes, Lamar, Hurts, and that's just because like the
Oh,
rushing.
I mean in fantasy, you still have Mahomes top 3?
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean Mahomes. Allen, Lamar, Hurts in
Okay,
fantasy.
yeah,
I don't know why I said no, not Mahomes. No,
yeah,
no, no, no,
not
no.
Mahomes, but yeah,
Allen, Lamar, and Hurts in fantasy. They're like a clear top three. Then there's like a little bit of room, and I think that's where Burrow is. Like for sure top five, but he's going to be four or five, depending
yeah.
on how. You
He's in a. I think it's a tier above Jared Goff. Like they can both put up 40,
Yeah.
30 points, but you expect it from Burrow more often, whereas Goff will
Yeah.
hit 15 a bit more.
Burrow's offense needs him,
Right.
whereas Goff's offense doesn't.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they do, but meaning like they could just have a game where they run the ball, and it's like because Goff has had those games where he just kind of like disappears, but the team still wins.
Yeah.
Burrow, if Burrow's not throwing 300 yards and getting multiple touchdowns, they're not winning the game.
No, they have no shot.
That's kind of the difference.
Yeah, so
So
he's a good option. Andrews kind of gets shut down. This is insane. This is one of the reasons why the Ravens keep losing to Pittsburgh. Andrews has never scored a touchdown in 10 games against Pittsburgh.
that's wild.
He's like a lock for a touchdown almost every other fucking game, and
Yeah.
0 for 10. That's insane.
Steelers, man, like I have no idea what I mean, they're clearly winning the division. I think that's pretty clear
I
to say.
agree.
Like, especially with the Ravens losing like this, yeah, they're clearly winning the division. And then like I have no idea what they're gonna be like in the playoffs. But they're looking good.
Yeah, you need the Legion of Boom to show up.
Hmm.
I think to save Russ from himself, dude.
But,
Let's just talk about the Steelers real quick.
hmm.
The interception in
Hmm.
the end zone when they were like about they could easily kick another field goal and they would have gone up like by 2 scores,
Yeah,
and then they turn it over and then they get bailed out where Lamar like starts driving halfway down the field and then turns it over himself. They got so bailed out, but Russ was trying to give it away. I saw some cracks with Mr.
yeah.
Unlimited. Um
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't think he's like back to his elite form.
no,
Like, I
he's
don't
he's
think,
he's not that. He'll
I,
still make some mistakes, but he's good enough and their defense is so good that it doesn't matter.
for sure. No, if you're a Pittsburgh fan, you got to be pretty excited. This is probably the most confident you felt in a while. Because like, yeah, I know they went to the playoffs recently, but everyone was kind of like, you don't belong here. Like, you're go away. Like, this is an easy first round out.
Yeah.
And but now it's like, shit, they could put up a fight and like steal a win from somebody for
Mhm.
sure.
And I mentioned this on one of the deleted episodes, but
Yeah.
I uh it feels like this year as I've like kind of expounded on this thought,
God damn
the hype for the Russell Wilson Broncos as
it.
well
Yeah.
as the Chargers that season when they made all their offseason moves. It took
Hmm.
2 years and it took a new coach for LA. It took Russ to go to Pittsburgh. But the hype we had 2 years ago for both Russell Wilson's team and Justin Herbert's team has finally
Yeah.
paid off. And I did think that Russell Wilson should have been traded to the Steelers instead of the Broncos that year. That's what I wanted
Yeah.
to see happen. And now that it has happened, it looks like it's really good. CeeDee Lamb with a house call, and there's a flag on the play.
Yep.
Oh no, it's Cavante Turpin, not CeeDee Lamb.
Turpin. Yeah.
Turpin. Is the flag
Yep.
calling it back? Is that what you were reacting to? You were like, "Damn
Yeah,
it!" Like
no,
10 seconds ago.
it's defensive hands to the face and they decline it. So
Oh, okay. You have the Texans
uh,
defense.
we're hanging on by a thread. I could
Let's
lose one more point and I'm still ahead. It'd be 109. I'd be winning by less than a point. So you
well,
know what?
let me
We're
show it.
hanging
Let
in
me show it on the screen. Let me show it on the screen here. Yeah,
ah
you
by
said you needed 10 points to me. I thought you needed 9. And yeah, I'm right. You need 9. But you're in a dead heat with GoGo Bongzilla. You're at 6-4. GoGo Bong is at 4-6. I
yeah.
have to admit I am rooting for GoGo Bong given he needs the win more.
I for sure get it. And also like again, as we discussed, I'm gonna have so many people on bye next week. I'm basically penciling that in as a loss. I
Okay.
don't want to go. I'd much rather go 1-1, and in 2 weeks from now be
Yeah.
7-5, not 6-6.
Yeah, that's tough, man.
That's didn't
It's
want that.
no,
So
that's not good. Especially that it's not Lamb, that it was Turpin instead.
well,
That's
so that was I saw
ugh.
the touchdown and I was like, well, I have Lamb in so many other leagues. At least this will be that. No, not that.
Yeah.
Not that at all.
He's
So
so
that's
fast. Turpin's fucking
yeah.
lightning fast. Um, rough, bro.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, you would think the Texans are a good start tonight, but that's not
They're
helping.
doing okay so far. I mean, like, look, I just need them to kind of hold that. Like, I need them to get some sacks. I need them to get some interceptions again.
It's only
But you
second
don't,
quarter with 14:50 left on the clock. I'd be worried, bro. You need some turnovers, and you probably need like a pick six.
well, yeah, I'm rooting for something like that. But
Good luck.
any, yikes.
So I pulled up your matchup here on the screen, and you did start Drake May. You benched Kirk Cousins. That was a great
Yep.
call.
Yep.
Were you just afraid about Denver, or did you actually like the Rams matchup for May?
Actually, both. I was
Yeah.
terrified. Like, I would love to sit. Denver's scary. That's a really good defense. So I was like, that seems like it could go to shit pretty quickly. And then just like Drake May has had such a rushing floor. And I felt
Mm-hmm.
like the Rams, I think they were on a short week.
They were.
Um, it just kind of made sense that Drake May could do pretty well. And I mean, he put up like really solid numbers. So you dropped him, I think, and I
I
was like,
did.
well, all right, that's someone I'm high on for at least the next 3 games because then it's his bye. So I was like, all right, I think he could do pretty well.
Yeah. When I had him, I had basically tryouts for my backup quarterback, Herbert versus Drake May, and I went with Herbert, which was the right call. Herbert was better, but
Oh yeah,
not by like a massive margin. Drake May's very legit, and just less experience and less weapons. But 19 points, very legit, more than Purdy. That's good. And
yeah.
Brees Hall really dominates with 2 touchdowns. Kyron Williams 8.6.
Hmm.
Really nice to see Brees Hall getting back. Like we know he's capable of this, and it's been so
Oh, for
annoying
sure.
to not see it.
For sure. Except Garrett Wilson really let me down with only
Right at
like
the expense of Garrett Wilson, Brees Hall dominates.
that's kind of the annoying part of it is that like God forbid Garrett Wilson at least get me like a 10-point floor. Like his floor is just so much less than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah,
Rodgers looks bad. I don't think they should bring him back next year.
no,
I
I they should ask him to retire.
they're going to probably have a top pick next year,
Hmm.
and I just don't see any. You're still going to have Brees, Wilson, and Sauce like young
The
players. Like
foundation is there.
you need to just kind of say, hey, you got it. You're not coming back.
Yeah, it's such a powder
Because
keg though.
because everyone keeps asking Aaron, are you going to retire? And I'm like, if I'm the Jets, I'm not kind of putting it to him. Like I'm not offering him to come back for fucking what?
Yeah, he needs to go to a different team.
Like he's showing you what you're getting. Like that sack at the end of the game, they rushed three.
Yeah,
That was not like if you can't get away from that, then there's something physically wrong. And maybe it's the Achilles, maybe it's just age, whatever it is. Yeah, that's not who you need.
it's a combination of age, the injuries, and his ego. Where like if he's able to check himself like Russ has this season, then
Yeah.
maybe he could salvage his career. But he's like what, 6 or 7 years older than Russell Wilson? Like maybe Russ isn't that
Because
old, but I feel like Russ is like only 34.
as the Jets, how do you sit there and say, well, let's run it back? Like, what are you talking about? This is as
No,
good as it
you
was
gotta get you
going
gotta give up on
to be.
this.
Yeah. Like you tried, you gave it a year, and
Hmm.
yeah, time to call it for sure.
Yeah, we know for sure. And if I think they still have Adams under contract. Maybe you can get something for him. Like you gotta cut ship. Maybe there's a team that's willing to trade for both Rodgers and Adams, like on the cheap. Because let's take the obviously Adams won't go back to the Raiders. I doubt Rodgers would go there either. But
Hmm.
if let's throw out the Seahawks
What, like the Titans?
or yeah, that's not a bad
Like you're just in terms of teams that clearly don't have a
a
quarterback.
team that won't. This is like not anywhere near the same quarterback draft class. Like maybe there's one, and it's like Shadur Sanders, and that's not
Yeah.
even like a guarantee. Otherwise, all the other quarterback process have like been falling off. I haven't looked into them too much. I don't know enough to verify that right now. But
Yeah.
if let's say you were someone that was going to get pick 7 in this year's draft, and you were shot at quarterback, there aren't like that many teams in that situation, but there are a few. I don't know. Would you
Mhm.
would you make any consideration? I don't want to talk too much about the Jets, but like, would you at all consider acquiring? Let's say it was a combo of Rodgers and Adams.
I think like what are you? The problem is like he's bad.
Yeah.
Like that
Are you
like he
are
just
you
looks
willing to take
so
that shot? I don't.
bad.
I don't think so. I don't think the answer is
I don't think
no.
you are. Like the reason Russ was so appealing is that Denver was paying all of his salary. I don't know if that's the same situation with Rodgers that the Jets would be paying, like where you'd only have to pay Russ like $1 million.
Hmm.
Like that's why Russ is so appealing and why the Steelers were like, fuck it. Like, yeah, that's great. Like, we'll do that.
Yeah.
If a team would have to go like acquire him, I don't think anyone would. Like he
Would the
hasn't shown
Br-
anything.
would the Browns do it?
The Browns are a garbage franchise. Like
That's the only team I can think of.
they'll do absolutely anything. Like
That's that
God,
that's the that's I think that's the alternative. You either retire or you go to the Browns. There's no one
yeah,
else. You threw
it's
out the
great.
Titans, but like you'd be hoping for the Seahawks, and it probably wouldn't happen. They'd probably just look to the draft.
I feel like it would have to be an NFC team, probably.
Yeah, it's probably not going to happen. Let's move on. That's enough on
All
the
right,
Jets.
that's enough. I have them and I don't want to talk about
You got
them.
Chase Brown. How you feel about Chase Brown? You
Yeah,
loving Chase Brown right now?
he's doing what I thought he could do, so it's
Mm-hmm.
hard to be too bummed about that. Like to get me, what is that, 15, 16 points without a
Yeah,
touchdown. That's great.
very
I'll
nice. And
he's
Zach
catching the
Moss, I think,
ball.
might be done for the season. So
Yeah. So, and then I'm not worried about Khalil Herbert. I feel like that's more just like depth versus like a
no, yeah,
coming in to take
no concern. Are you
job.
worried about Darnold for Jefferson at all?
I mean, it's not great. Like for sure you could have these 10-point games from Jefferson. Like that's in the cards, and I think that's why he was so discounted at the
Yeah,
draft, 'cause, yeah, this could happen. He still has like an elite ceiling. Like he's probably one of the more talented, if not the most talented receiver in the league. So you're banking off that. But yeah, I'd like him to get more than 10 points. You'd like that out of a first round player
do
for
you
sure.
do you realize that he's almost identical to Cortland Sutton this week? And if you pull up Sutton's game log and Jefferson's game log, they're in terms of fantasy points pretty similar. Jefferson in our scoring last 4 games, 18 and a half, 21.3, 7.3, 11.1. This is Cortland Sutton. 16.4, 22.8, 16, 11.3. Sutton has been better the last month than Jefferson.
I believe it. Yeah, he's not like having those blow people away games. He really hasn't had that in quite a while. I think like we're just for sure seeing like the limits of Sam Darnold.
Right.
Great move I still think it was a great move by the Vikings to not if they didn't want to pay Cousins, like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
This'll this'll keep us relevant and competitive and like maybe, but I feel like they're probably seeing the ceiling here. And like they started out super hot, and without that, they wouldn't even be in contention. So
Well, I remember in the preseason when I was making my like projection for Minnesota, this was assuming JJ McCarthy would play. I
yeah,
thought that the schedule, we didn't expect them to go 5-0, but I thought that Darnold would stay the quarterback through the bye and for a few weeks until the Jaguars game. And whether he couldn't beat the Jaguars or just had a rough showing and they weren't like in playoff contention, I thought the Jags game is where we would see JJ McCarthy, and against Tennessee the week after, McCarthy would make his first official start. Knowing that they beat the Jags
mhm.
12-7 with Darnold throwing 3 interceptions last week, do you think we would have seen McCarthy at this point? Especially after his like first week in the preseason, right? Like
I think so. Like I
if
wasn't
you
the
don't change any other record
yeah.
though, like if you keep the 5 game win streak to start the year.
See, that's kind of, I don't know. I mean, to be fair, Pittsburgh sat Justin Fields after he was doing like had a
Right.
like after winning games. So
Yeah.
maybe coaches are much better at doing that than I would be. Like that's a hard thing to do after someone's doing that well. But I think he had like a couple rough games in there
He
where you're like,
lost 2 straight off the bye. He lost to the Rams, and then he also lost to um I'm forgetting, but they lost 2 games. Um,
yeah.
I don't have their schedule in front of me, but um,
I
if
do
they
think,
lost those two and then he threw 3 picks, they lost to Detroit and the Rams, and then they beat the Colts. And if he threw 3 picks against the Jags with 12 points on the scoreboard, I think he would have gotten benched. I really do.
yeah, it's a very like, what are you doing for me now kind of a league. So I think like, yeah, those back-to-back losses, it would kind of negate all the previous
Hmm.
success. Where it'd be like, all right, we gotta
Yeah.
change things up a little bit,
Uh,
especially as like Green Bay and Detroit then also did as well as they did, and you're like, well, what are we doing here? Like, what do we think we are? Are we better than them?
yeah.
No. Are we gonna win the division? No. Okay.
You got to see what you have.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of what's lacking. Like as everyone has film on Darnold now, I think their offense is gonna fall apart. If Aaron Jones goes down, I'd be very concerned about them. Whoa.
Yeah, for sure. Biggest regret I see on this page is that I didn't like pick up Juwan Jennings when I could have.
Oh yeah, did you drop him or?
Not in this league, in a different one. But like again, he was a waiver wire ad. Like that's my
Well,
point. Like someone
the
who,
team that had Juwan Jennings when he blew up earlier, Johnny Football, also dropped him.
yeah, it's a rough one for sure.
Gogo Bong picked him up recently. Gogo Bong is making a bit of a push here. Gogo Bong is in a rough spot,
Hmm.
and they could make the playoffs at 5-6 if they beat you.
They're trying.
it'll,
That
it'll be
touchdown was
close.
fucking rough.
But Josh Downs, how do you feel about Downs after watching Richardson?
I think he's a very like as far as like a flex play, that's about like I the best comp I heard for Josh Downs that I really resonate with is that he's like the new Tyler Lockett. He's very like
Yeah,
un underdrafted, undersized, not viewed as like the main wide receiver on his own team, but like really good with the ball in his hands.
that's
Like
a
you
very good comp. Yeah.
I heard that I was like, yeah, he kind of is. Like he's just really good. And he shouldn't be. It doesn't make sense, but he's just good. So I'm happy for sure.
Yeah,
But JSN is coming alive. Like he's
right.
doing really well now. So
You
it's
did
a
bench JSN. Was that like a tough decision, or did you feel pretty confident in Downs before the week
I was
started?
confident in Downs because DK Metcalf was coming back this game. And I
Okay.
was like, well, all the previous success he had was without Metcalf, so I have no idea what this is going to be like.
Yeah, this is very encouraging for JSN.
Guess I got to bench Jefferson. No, I'm benching Garrett Wilson.
You're benching Wilson?
I mean, shit, I don't know. No, not coming up because Josh Downs is going to be out, I think, week 14. So, I'll need
D
all hands on deck for that.
Downs gets Detroit next week. Jefferson gets Chicago. Garrett Wilson gets a bye,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
JSN would be in your lineup, I assume.
Yep. For
Okay.
sure.
Kyle Pitts with 1.4 as Darnell Mooney gets hurt. Like that's really disappointing. But I feel like they just checked out before the bye. That's how I feel because their division's like locked up. This
Yeah.
game means nothing.
I think so too. And that's kind of like the frustrating thing with Kyle Pitts, where you're just like, whatever.
Bummer.
Like you,
Um,
you can't really rely on him
are
for
you
much.
considering to drop Justin Tucker?
What the fuck, man? Like that's an 8 point
Yeah,
loss. That's an 8 point loss. Like you can convince me, like that dude used to be automatic. Like
right.
I know
Yeah.
they weren't. One was like 50, one was 40 something. So like it's not close, but like that used to be why you took Justin Tucker because it was like, oh, cool. He's going to hit that and like I'm gonna get so many extra points. Uh
Hmm.
so that's frustrating for sure. But that was an 8 point loss, if not more.
Bummer for you.
Brutal.
Yeah, you'd really love to have those points right now. But
Yeah, not great.
he lost his like most accurate kicker in NFL history, Mark. Now Eddie Pinheiro has a higher accuracy ranking than he does.
I mean, yeah, this season's been rough. Like I picked him up
Yeah,
off the waiver
no,
wire because
he's not the same.
whoever drafted him dropped him, and I was like, well, shit, I'll do that. Like
No,
coming
I
off.
remember what happened. We let Aubrey go for $1. We fucked up, and the team, I think it was Puka. I think it was the Interference or something. One of the teams had like
Mhm.
only $8 left to spend on kicker, and they dropped like $6 on Tucker, and
Yep.
they let Aubrey go for $1, and Tucker has like changed hands like 3 times now, and I have a feeling you might give up on him soon.
Who knows, man? Like I have no idea. Like we'll see. I
Anyways,
I still I don't know who for, but
yeah, good
I just
luck
don't want to.
with that.
The problem is I don't want to spend money on it. Is
It-
kind of like the other thing is like I don't want to spend
yeah.
a dollar
If you have a
to
tight
drop
budget, I get
another
it. I'd
one.
rather have Will Lutz if he's available, but
You know
we
what I
can move
mean?
on
Like
from
that's
kickers.
that's kind of where it goes in this. From just like, do I really like? He doesn't have a
Yeah.
bye week the rest of the way. They'll probably let him keep kicking.
No, they have a bye in week 14. Tucker.
Oh, well, then he's gone then.
Yeah, fuck him. Uh,
Oh my
your opponent. Let's talk about your opponent, Brock Purdy, who looks like he got kind of banged up. He's now questionable. Probably okay, but rough, weird game for the Niners. Kyron, no touchdown. Brian
yeah,
Robinson, a touchdown, but off the injury, nothing in terms of yards. The Eagles are a tough matchup.
yeah, for sure.
Tyreek Hill, finally something from Tyreek Hill. Jesus.
Still, it's just like not even like I thought he had like an argument to be the wide receiver one overall this year.
Same.
And maybe even like the 101. I thought like that might have been a really safe pick. Like you probably weren't going to be disappointed, but that turned out to be not true. Like the hand injury is concerning for sure.
Yeah, very, very concerning. The wrist. Rough, but at least he scores a touchdown finally. But this that kind of feels like his ceiling. I don't think he's ever gonna crack 20.
Yeah, definitely wild. Sutton has been on a tear. That's I mean I like that for Cortland Sutton, but my God. Like the Broncos, man, holy shit, what a story.
Yeah.
Like what a team that's just like if it ended today would be in the playoffs, I think, right? I think if everything ended today,
Yep. Yeah.
that's wild.
And
Good
I
for
think
them.
they'll keep that spot. I think they're gonna be the 7th seed,
No, they're doing great.
right behind the Ravens. But Chargers 5 seed. I think the Chargers win on Monday, bro. I got tickets for that fucking game. I can't fucking wait.
I mean, dude, the Ravens defense is bad.
It's
Ravens
terrible.
defense is bad,
It is
and our
bad.
defense is actually getting like he's actually pretty good. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think we have a genuine shot.
I think it looks a lot like Sunday night's game against the Bengals.
Yeah, for real. Like I'm pretty hopeful. for sure. Herbert looked so good. Not to talk about the
He's
Chargers,
such a
but
stud, man.
good God, like especially in the first half, I was like, this is like a top five NFL quarterback right here. Like he's like you name six other people you'd rather have ahead of him as your starting quarterback. You won't be able to do it. Like he looked so good. He's playing better than I've ever seen him play. And Dobbins looks like the steal of the year.
Oh my God, Dobbins is a revelation. Dobbins most
So
valuable, most underpaid player. Dobbins is so good. He's the story of that team in many ways, but Herbert's starting to steal the show.
love
And
it. Absolutely love to see it for
dude,
sure.
let me just pivot right back to my team real quick because I have Herbert. I'm so happy I picked him up. And like this is his schedule the next 4 weeks. He just had the Bengals. He gets Baltimore at home, then at Atlanta, the Chiefs on the road. He always plays better in Kansas City than at home, but obviously that's not like the best spot, but
Yeah,
still not terrible. And then Tampa Bay. That's the best matchup you can ask for. The Bucks suck.
yeah, for sure. Like there are some really good matchups in there for sure.
He's gonna be great.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm pumped.
I'm so excited for him. But where were we?
I
Last
think
few things to
that's just about it. Like Jawan Jennings, what a pickup for
Yeah,
sure.
great pickup.
He also has Baker Mayfield. Mayfield versus Purdy is super interesting.
Oh, and he has Evans hopefully coming off the injury.
And Otten, like the triple buck stack is
Shit,
wild.
that's scary.
Yeah, like they could be really good.
Oh fuck.
I hope.
Bongzilla gonna make a
I
real
hope I
strong case.
you sure you don't want me to beat him? Like and knock him out?
I would love for you to beat him. I would
I kind of
really
think
hope that you beat him.
like I don't know. I think my team is a lot more suspect than
Here's
like
the
his.
thing: you are ranked higher than me, so I need somebody
It's a
above me
weird
to
thing. Like
lose.
I don't know, man. I think I'd rather him just not to come up from behind.
No, I'd be very concerned about this team because Kyron's not gonna play better in general, and
Yeah,
if you get Otten coming
Evans could
back,
be a
like
wide receiver one
shit.
for the rest of the year. Like Evans in the
Yeah.
playoffs could be brutal.
No, this team's scary as fuck. And then there's Kincaid as well. Uh, fuck.
Yikes. Well,
Good luck,
abs-
Jason. Good luck, Gogobong. Congrats
oof.
on
I guess
on.
we can go to like Nacua versus Fight Me.
Yeah, we'll do that. Okay, so Nacua looks like he's gonna win comfortably.
I
S-
think Fight Me has checked out, and I get it.
Uh, eight
Injury luck.
losses I think is enough.
He's had some really bad injury luck. Like he had Rasheed Rice,
Yeah,
Dak,
McCaffrey,
um, McCaffrey.
who's not really. He hasn't scored a touchdown since he's come back. That's he's giving you 12.6, 13 and a half. Oh fuck. Hello.
Hey, there we go.
What were we talking about?
Basically, how like I think Fight Me has
Oh
kind like
yeah.
a ton of really bad injury luck, and so I get kind of choosing to dip out.
I mean, I don't know if he dipped out. I mean, he didn't have a tight
Well, I
end,
always
but
say that because
Kittle.
I reached out to try and trade for CD Lamb, and he was even like, I think I'm kind of out of it now, as in to be like,
Yeah, when you're on the bottom and you feel like you don't have a shot to make some noise at the end, you don't really want to sway it for anyone else. You want to keep your
yeah.
studs and just let it not impact other people's seasons.
And I respect that. So I probably should have reached out sooner.
Yeah,
But
you got to pull the trigger when they're still viable.
yep.
Um, but yeah, his running back depth was always kind of shot, and with no McCaffrey, it's a bummer that he didn't know about Kittle until midweek because Ertz had a great game,
Yeah,
but
I
it wouldn't
know.
have been enough. Nacua just went off. That Puka Stafford stack looks scary. Like if it
When they
really
have like
hits,
when it
yikes.
really hits, like it could not hit and the Rams could just kind of struggle, but for sure when it hits, it really hits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
and then he has
yeah.
Stroud on the bench. So he also has Neighbors on the bench. Are you interested at all in Neighbors a bit more with Tammy DeVito at all?
I think Neighbors is just kind of what he is. Like he's really talented. Like he's really, really fucking talented. And he's in an offense that's probably gonna choose to target him a ton. But like the quality of target is just going to be really rough.
Yeah.
So there's not a really good floor. You're kind of in a bad spot with that.
I think he has a little bit more upside rest of season. I prefer DeVito, in all honesty. Um,
Yeah,
I think he'll be more like top 15 than like top 25.
yeah, for
But he's
sure.
better than, what I thought he'd be entering the season. Um, but he's starting to look a little bit more like what I expected.
All right, Houston, just run out the second quarter. Let's go.
Yeah, it's still so early in this game, man. You can only lose 1 point. You need a pick six.
I know. This is rough.
Good luck with that. But Mixon's dominant. Eckler looked really good. Eckler did in the passing game what I thought Terry McLaurin would do on
Hmm.
Thursday. Devontae Smith, not too great. Fryermuth, if he doesn't find the end zone, Fryermuth sucks.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
QJ, very touchdown dependent, but he's been scoring. Quentin Johnston looking decent,
I listen,
man.
I
Looking
love him.
decent.
I love him for the Chargers as a football team. If he could be our third best receiver, fucking great.
Yeah.
Great. We don't have to deal with that. That's amazing.
Brandon
Let
Aubrey,
us
50-yard field
let
goal.
us get another receiver in the draft. We have every one of our picks in either the second round, maybe even the first, depending upon who's there. But we just kind of figure it out. Anyway, that's my rant.
Yeah. I'm hopeful for him. I think as long as he's on the roster for to start the game and he's healthy, like there's gonna be one or two plays where he really contributes. I don't expect him to drop it anymore. Like maybe
Yeah,
once or twice, the rest of the season it'll happen sometimes. It happens with everyone sometimes. But I don't see it going to him and I'm like, "Oh god damn it. This fucker. This
yeah.
fucker's dropping the fucking pass." Yeah, so hopeful for QJ, but obviously if you have neighbors, you're gonna bench QJ.
Mm, mhm.
Vikings defense, such a stud defense.
For real.
Aubrey, as we're recording this, scores a 50-yard field goal. Does that hurt you?
I mean, it's not great for the cumulative, but I still have 2 points.
Okay, you still got some leeway. And then on his bench, he's got Stroud, Neighbors, Ingram, Justice Hill, Keon Coleman, Demarcus Robinson. An empty bench spot. Not quite sure why that's not filled. Maybe.
Yeah.
Oh right, his isn't his budget like depleted? Is he?
Oh, is it?
There's some teams here who have a very
Oh,
low budget. I think he's one of them. I could be wrong.
that's
Let me pull it
interesting.
up. No, he has $23. He's
Oh,
okay, but not the most.
interesting.
Um, Here let me pull up the budgets real quick on the screen. We'll talk budgets real quick. There's Sun God Squad with 103, Hawk to a Moon with 120, and then the next highest is Salisbury at 67, followed by I think me. Yeah, I have the fourth highest budget with 39.
That's
And I've made
wild.
a ton of moves. I'm just like thrift store shopping. Every week I'm dropping $1, $2, $3 max. And I swear I've made like 40 moves and I still have $39. Fourth highest budget is a shock to me.
That's wild. Absolutely wild. I
Jo-
have like not a lot of money.
Johnny Football has spent his entire fab budget. He cannot make any more waiver moves. That could haunt him. RiverRat only has $1, and you have where are you? $19. GoGo Bong has $7. So
I'm happy with 19 because I could at least make a move,
yeah,
which is my
19's
goal.
okay,
It's not
but
ideal. Like I'm probably not winning any bidding wars, but at least I could pick up a kicker if I
well,
need to.
yeah, I feel tight at 40 at this point, but knowing that I have like double most other teams, then at least I know I can bid very low and probably get the player. Like I don't need to drop $17 to pick someone up at
Yeah,
this point. Um,
100%.
but anyways, back to the matchups. Where were we? We were on Puka Nacua Matata. We just finished
And
up
so,
on him and Fight Me.
yeah, did we talk like
Oh yeah,
Devonta
we already
Smith
talked about
for
Fight Me.
disappointing? Like, yeah.
I
Devonta Smith.
I will say if Fight Me with 8 losses is really out of it, I think Bo Nix being eliminated from the playoff content picture is actually very very nice
Yeah,
consolation prize.
for sure. Yeah.
Uh, I'd be worried to face Bo Nix because he runs so well.
No, he's a very good quarterback, like fantasy quarterback. He's doing a very good job.
Yeah, he's been great lately. Top 10. Okay, but I think we can move on. We talked about the extensive teams. Sad to
We
see
could do,
Romeo Dobbs suck so bad.
yeah, I know. We could do Huron RiverRat versus Goat Mode.
Yeah, it looks like RiverRat's gonna win. RiverRat, like me, is at 5-5, so Goat Mode falling is good for everyone.
For sure.
Um, but Goat Mode has, I believe, a lot of tiebreakers for points. That Jalen Hurts Saquon stack is just so scary.
So rough. Yeah.
But Aaron Jones, wow, I didn't realize the box score for Aaron Jones. Like to know that Akers
Yeah,
scored double is very disappointing
for
for
real.
Aaron
Yeah.
Jones. He had 15 touches, 39 yards, one catch, 4 yards. So that's like a almost like a 65-35 split.
Yeah,
Maybe even less for Aaron Jones. Maybe like 60-40.
for sure. No, it's not ideal for sure. Like you got to be kind of scared about that.
Yeah.
Kind of coming out of nowhere. Devontae Adams, that's a rough one. Like he's just not anywhere near elite,
The
certainly in this.
volume's there, right? Like how many targets this week? 7. Last week was 13. The week before 11. 6 for 72 is a fine floor. Like you're not upset with that. That's what you got from like Jefferson, basically.
That's a fair point. The big one, honestly, is Pickens. Like he's looking really good
Yeah,
in
we
this.
expected a touchdown for Pickens this week. Good matchup, but still 8 for 89. Very very nice. Pickens is
Oh, here, Riverette put Taysom Hill in his flex. Oh, good job.
wow.
Holy shit. Look at that. Like almost like 70 points from tight ends.
That's
It's
insane.
with Jamar Chase, man. But like the big one is 70 points from tight ends. Like,
Well, he didn't have anyone on the bench to put in. That's wow. Sometimes it's better to be lucky
wow.
than like right. Like he had no
Oh
other
my
choice.
God. I
Algier on the bench, 0.4. Bucky Irving on bye. Wanda Robinson, Tyron Tracy on bye. Jalen Tolbert, a bagel at the moment. Kamani Vidal with a bagel. Lineup Nirvana with Taysom Hill. Wow.
fucking A. Like, good job. Really
Yeah,
good job.
beautiful. Rough with Mahomes. I feel like I'd like to get another quarterback on this roster if I was River Rat.
He's just so hard to trust. Like, I don't know. As
Yeah,
someone who got rid of Mahomes in a league, like, I don't know, man. They don't
tough.
like, yeah.
But if
Rough for
Pacheco comes
Debo.
back next week, he's in a tough spot.
Yeah,
Like, oh well, he does have Tyron Tracy and Bucky Irving, but running back 2 could
I'd
be
do Bucky or yeah.
really. I
I
think
think
I'd
you
go
could
Tyron
easily.
Tracy next week.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see post bye how the running back room looks in Tampa. Like Bucky Irving's looked so good, but then again, I am jaded. I like Bucky Irving a lot.
Well,
So
Tampa and the Giants play each other. That'll be an interesting game. I just know that there's not the time split for Tracy. That's why I would go Tracy. But
that's
yeah,
fair.
I understand your point. Bucky has looked really good. Um, Bijan falls back down to earth finally. He had a really good stretch for a while,
Yep. Oh,
but
for sure.
AJ Brown, another game with no touchdown, but I wouldn't
Yeah, RiverRat
panic.
is a really good team. Like
Yeah,
that's a really starting lineup. I mean, Taysom Hill aside, but
no, we're kind of catching a break with him losing Kareem Hunt. Hopefully
yeah,
this week, like if it happens in week 13, then he probably locks up a playoff spot.
yeah, for sure.
But Bowers and Taysom, what a combo! Damn.
Absolutely wild. Yeah.
Kelsey puts up a terrible game,
Man,
and Noah
yeah.
Brown scored 2 touchdowns.
Oh, absolutely crazy.
Swift plays well.
Yeah, he gets boy. Yeah, if anything, like I don't know. Do you put James Conner back in your lineup?
I think you
I'm gonna
bench Aaron Jones, yeah.
have to, yeah.
And then next week Adams is on bye, so Flowers is back in. Would
Hmm.
would you uh, would you go T.J. Hawkinson over Kelsey, or like are you just writing this off for Kelsey?
I mean,
Because Hawkinson didn't do shit either.
well, that's my thing. Like, have we seen enough from Hawkinson to be like, oh no, it's got to be him?
Well, he had 9 targets the week before, but granted,
I don't
Kelsey
know.
had like 13 targets the week before. So yeah, I think you have to stick with Kelsey.
I'd probably still ride with Kelsey. That's just me, but
Yeah, I'd trust Mahomes over Darnold for sure. Um,
yeah,
Saints
definitely.
defense with 1 point, rough. Yeah, to score 114 and lose is kind of disappointing. But typically, Goat Mode has the team that'll win with Hurts and Saquon.
Hmm. Yeah, real nice. But yeah, I mean, shit, getting down to it.
Yeah,
Like crazy,
we've got
the
so many
Hurts and
6-win
Saquon thing.
teams. It's insane.
Crazy that you have Saquon. That had to feel so good to have Saquon go off for 35 points, thinking you have it in the bag, and then just
Oh, rough. Yeah, what a comeback from RiverRat here.
yeah, especially seeing that his AJ Brown didn't do well, probably so confident.
And then there's Jamar.
All of those
Uh,
days, and then you just
damn. That's
rough.
unfortunate. Good luck, Goat Mode. You'll be all right. I did trade with Goat Mode. I gave him Brian Thomas, and he gave me Jalen Warren. And through 1 week, Brian Thomas was the better play, but I couldn't start him, so I'm happy to have Warren.
Mhm.
I'll accept it. Maybe I should have got given him Tillman. Maybe.
I
I
don't
felt
know.
better about Tillman.
I think I'd rather have Tillman, to be honest.
Okay, we'll see how that goes. But that's in the back of my mind. Maybe I should have given him Tillman. Last matchup though, um, Salisbury Suicide versus Pasture Interferents, and love to see the 1 seed Suicide, who has not that many points, lose. Like,
Mhm.
no offense, Eduardo
Uh,
Carocchio, but we need the 1 seed to fall off a bit.
2-game losing streak now for you for that guy.
Yeah, at 7 wins, like I think we can still keep him out, even if he gets 8.
Oh, for real. Like it could be a really big losing streak. Jaden isn't doing quite as much as he used to.
No, but
Mm.
Jordan Love is his backup. I think he'll probably pivot to Love for a while.
The bagel from Kraft, like tight end is
Yeah,
rough
that's
just because like Gesicki's pretty not is not usable now.
his tight end spot is tough, but there is Johnu on the waiver wire.
Yeah.
We'll see, but he might not get him. He may not
Yeah.
bid. Who knows? Who knows what will happen? But Terry, rough game for Terry. Um, Jacobs has
Yeah.
a good game. Dobbins has a great game.
God, yeah, Monty seemingly worth the money. I remember Pasture just punted running back. That's not hurting him too badly.
Yeah,
Like I
Monty
don't know.
works out, but Nick
Rough
Chubb.
that he had to start. God, did he have to start Ricky Pearsall? I
No,
wouldn't have done.
he went Chubb and Ricky Pearsall over Najee Harris and Judy. He had Judy on the bench.
I would not have done.
Rough.
Man, like,
I get it.
anywho,
I understand the Pearsall over Judy. Maybe not Najee. I would definitely have gone Najee, not
I
only
would have done
over
Najee over.
Pearsall but Chubb.
I would have done
Um,
Najee over Pearsall.
yeah,
I mean, he's gonna win anyway, so it didn't matter. So good for you,
yeah, but points are relevant.
for sure.
Bagel from I think Pearsall was a fine player to trust, just very disappointing. But knowing that Najee was on the bench, I would have gone Najee.
Yeah, he's gonna have a fun time figuring out who to play, Darnold or Russ, every week.
Yeah.
That's that's a shitty time. You're
Chose the
like,
wrong one this week.
it's the
Russ,
Spider-Man meme of like the pointing at each other, like you're the same person.
I would have made that decision as well. I don't trust Darnold as much as the Ravens matchup, but in that AFC North rivalry, it just shut him down. But Jets defense, he's still rolling with the Jets. That's interesting.
Hmm.
But
That's
he gets the win. That's all that matters.
oh yeah,
Anyways, we needed Salisbury to lose. Happy
for
to
sure.
see it happen. And London goes on by. Do you fear Salisbury? Because in terms of points, he's not there, but obviously he's probably going to be a playoff
I
team.
did up until Jaden kind of struggled. Like I
Right?
thought for a
Yeah.
while that Jaden was a top three quarterback, and I was like, well, fuck, he's gonna give you such an edge each and every week, especially in a format where you only start one flex. Like that matters so much more. But with Jaden not doing as well with not having the tight end position locked up. And honestly, some people are super into Jaden Reed, and I do get it, but like there's no floor there. So he feels like someone who in the playoffs could just really let you down because you can't live in the aggregate of all the games and
Yeah.
like have it. It's like, oh, cool, he had a bad game and I lost. Great.
You would think that when he scores a touchdown, he like has a great game, and to only give you 8.8 with a touchdown is very concerning. But he's very Packers reliant. Like if he actually starts Jordan Love, he's starting four Packers.
Yeah,
And like, yeah, you're gonna get a great game from one of them. Like Jacobs went off. That's what you should expect. I think Love is a safe quarterback. I would be starting Love and Jacobs most weeks, but if you get a blow up game from Watson again,
yeah,
or it just doesn't go to Reed and Kraft, like you're screwed. So
100%.
that's
Yeah.
a tough spot to be in. Interesting to see what will happen. Javante comes back to life. He's on the bench there, but Estime
Good
stole
luck.
all his thunder 2 weeks ago.
Absolutely good luck there. So
Yeah,
someone else could go figure that out.
yeah. I could see Salisbury missing the playoffs, but most likely he stays in. For
Yeah,
now, it's not a guarantee.
he'd have to go 0 and 4, which can totally happen.
No, I think he could go 1-3 and it still happen, but most likely it would take a 0-4 run.
Yeah,
But yeah, I think that's gonna wrap up this little recap. Unless there's anything else that piques your eye. We hit
that's
all the
about it.
matchups, right?
We did. Yeah, that's
Okay.
about it. Um,
Yeah. So the standings after this, we will have. I will be 6-5. Tua will be 4-7. Johnny Football 6-5. Sun God Squad 5-6. Nacua
yep,
Matata will be 7-4. Fight Me
yep.
3-8. RiverRat 6-5. Goat Mode 6-5. You'll be You're still holding at 6-5. I'll give it to you. 6-5.
TBD. TBD. Like I am not confident in it, but
I,
like you know what?
just for the sake of it, let's put you 6-5 and go bong at 5 and
I'm
6.
at I'm projected 60 to 38. I do not believe that whatsoever.
No,
That
I'd,
is
I'd be worried if I was you. Salisbury at 7-4, Pasture at 5-6. Like everyone's at 6 wins, six
yeah,
or five wins across
right.
and up the board.
Well, the upper echelon of teams just keeps winning. Every time, like the past 3 weeks, I've won and I've been like, oh, fuck yeah, who am I jumping? And everyone wins. So it's like, what are we doing?
I just won with a big score, and I don't think I'm jumping anyone either.
Like I had to win just to stay where I am. It's the most annoying shit week after week. I don't, there's never a moment where I'm like, cool. And at least then I have a game buffer. It's like, no, everyone just keeps
Yeah,
shifting up. The guy at the top keeps losing. The people at the bottom keep losing. So we're all just moving up. So
that
terrifying.
mid-level shuffle. It's gonna be interesting, but such a tough fight to the end. Good luck, man.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Here we
All
go.
right.
Here we go. How come? How
No,
come?
Dak's not on the field anymore.
No, but didn't like the first game Cooper Rush came in, he tried to
Oh,
do it.
I
And I
didn't
was like,
know
what
that.
are you like we all made fun of this guy for that. Why are you doing it? It's
Trying to mimic the cadence, but yeah, I have no faith. Shockingly, the score is 17-10. Like, there's actually a chance they win, but we got a 2-minute drill. Good luck keeping that
yeah,
that
need a
one
big
point
need a
lead,
big
bro.
need to stop right here. And then Aubrey to do something he never does, which is miss.
Yeah, you can stay at 13 points, but once you go to above 14, you'll lose a point. Maybe two. I
Yeah,
think you lose 2 points.
hard to say. But I have 2 points to lose, I think.
You need some turnovers.
Yeah. Anywho,
Anyways,
I'll figure it out.
it's been fun,
Well,
man. I'm glad I didn't delete this one.
I know, shoot, glad this one worked.
All right, let's not jinx it. I'll catch you next time.
See you, buddy.
Peace out, bro.